Welcome back. We're still in Unit 3. We're still in Assignment 1, and this is Part 2. The good news is this. Part 2 is not as long. You already did most of the work. We're going to be adding something into it, though. So here's what we're going to do. Go over to your computer science file, and as I say every time, if you don't have one of these, get one. Go to Unit 3 and find that hello that we created in the Unit 3, Assignment 1, Part 1. If you did not do that yet, you cannot do this one, so don't even come into this video yet. Just go back and do that one. Right-click, edit with idle. Here's our file. What is it we're doing right now? I'm so glad you asked. We have all of these separate little commands in here. Do this, do this, do this, do this. But really and truly, what programmers prefer to do are write functions. And the thing is, in something like this where we do a space over and over again, if we write that space as a function and then just call up the function, then we don't have to write all of the commands every time. Okay, so what's a function? It's a group of commands. That's all it is. It's just a group of commands. And here I'll give you an example. Let's say that from your house to your friend's house, you know that you get in the car, okay? You drive 2 blocks north, you drive 1 block east, and then you turn left. Now, if you were going to be going to your friend's house and you were driving and you would say, hey mom, I'm going to get in the car, drive 2 blocks north, I'm going to drive 1 block east, and then I'm going to turn left. Every time, your mom would be like, stop, just stop. And instead, you tell yourself, hey mom, I'm driving over to Bob's. Now, when you say I'm driving over to Bob's, your mom knows that you're getting in the car, driving 2 blocks north, 1 block east, and turning left. Because it takes all those steps to get to Bob's. But you're not going to tell her that every time. That's what a function is. It is a group of commands that mean one thing. And as we go through this, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So we're going to take all of these groups of commands we have and we're going to turn them into functions. And in order to do that, we have 2 steps. We define the function, and then later we call up the function. So here we go. We've already got our turtle import star in here. We can leave that there. And we've already got all of the tools to drawing a space. Okay? So what I want to do first is we're going to define what drawing a space is. So we're going to go down here to our space. We're going to Control C. We're going to code reuse. And right after our turtle import, hit a couple of return keys, and I want you to do this. Here's the things that you do to draw a space, but we're not done yet. I want you to tab over each one of these lines. Click on the front and tab, because functions have to be indented when you're doing the whole group of functions. I'm going to add one more space in here just for pretty purposes, and I am going to define this group of codes as draw space. Okay, so define draw underscore space parentheses. And then as soon as you're done with that, you hit a colon. That's 2 dots. What does this tell my computer? That all of these little guys right here, all of this stuff is what has to happen every time I tell the computer to draw a space. Since I draw a space in this thing a lot, that's the first one I'm going to do. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn all of this in here into a definition called move turtle. So that when I tell the computer to move the turtle, it just moves the turtle. Luckily, I don't have to do any copying or pasting. All I'm going to do is tab over to make that indent. I'm going to add an extra space in here with the return key. And I'm going to define this function as move turtle. And every time you define a function, you end it with the open close parenthesis and the colon. So now I've got 2 functions, okay? Drawing a space and moving the turtle. Right now, if I were to run this code, you would see no differences between this and what we did before, because I haven't changed anything yet. So as we do functions, you kind of have to wait it out at the end to see what happens. So you're just going to have to trust me on this one. The next thing I want to do is I want to take all of my function work that I did, all of my commands that I used in order to draw an H, and I want to turn all of these into a function called draw H. So I'm going up here to the top of all the stuff I did for the letter H. And on every line, I'm going to tab over. And you may be asking yourself, Mrs. Mack, why am I going through all of this pain in the rear? Here's the deal. This program right here, the Hello World, you're going to use over and over and over and over and over and over and over again in the assignments in the rest of the units. If you don't do your Hello World correctly, you are going to be in trouble because you won't have this done for units 4 and 5. You're also going to need this defined in functions to really make it work. I am going to call this entire function draw H. Define draw H. Awesome. I've got a function called draw space, a function called move turtle, and a function called draw H. So this is all well and good, but now I've got a space in here and I don't need that. Here is the beauty of functions. I get rid of this junk. I tab over here and I tell it to draw space. That's all I got to do. Now it's going to draw a space. Because back up here I defined what it means to draw space. It's going to do this whole pen up, forward 30, pen down, just because I told it to. Okay, so Ms. Mack, I'm going to go ahead and save right now because I like to save things to make sure they stay the way they're supposed to. And actually I need to do a save as on this one. And I'm going to save as on this one, hello by functions. Hello by functions, because we're writing the word hello and we're writing it as functions. Okay, so do a save as on this one so that you still have your hello. Next up, I need to define my E. Just like I did on the H, I'm going to tab over every step in the E. And what do you think I'm going to call this? Define draw underscore. And you know, I realized I didn't tell you guys what the underscore is. Hopefully you know what that is. It's shift plus the dash mark on your keyboard. E, parentheses, colon. And what do I need at the end of all this? I need to draw a space. Control C because I'm going to code reuse. And I need to tab over first to indent. So now here's my E, draw space, and now I can file save instead of save as because I already saved it as the correct name. And I can get rid of all of this. I already put in a draw space, I don't need it again. Okay, let's define draw L. And we've got to indent. If you don't indent, your computer's going to get really confused. The program's going to tell you that you've got a transect error. That's because it doesn't understand what happens without indenting. Definitions have got to be, let me fix this. I do not want a capital there. Definitions have got to be, why did I put all these capitals in? Indented in order to show the computer that this is the group that fits into this category. And oh look, I had a space, but I don't need all that junk. Return. Draw space. Get rid of the junk. Goodbye. And when I get rid of things, I'm just highlighting and hitting backspace. All right, we're going to define draw L. This is the letter L. Again, indent, 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 indent. My computer already has that draw space copied and pasted in, so I can just Control V. And then get rid of the extra stuff here. You can see that it actually gets rid of quite a bit of excess code that we had in there. Okay, then I need to go ahead, and we're not done yet, but this is the last function that I have to define. Define draw O, indent away, and one more time, I'm going to add that draw space in, just to keep things consistent. Save. And if I were to run this now, I want you to kind of see what tries to happen here. It's like, nothing happens. Why is that? Well, my computer says, hey, Mrs. Mack, you defined a whole bunch of functions, but you didn't call those functions. Remember I told you there was two parts. Define the function, call the function. So far, the only thing I've called is a whole bunch of spaces. I defined draw space, and I called up a bunch of spaces, but I didn't define anything else. So here's what we do. Once we've done this, you're going to get back to the beginning, okay? No more tabs now because you're calling up. So the first thing I want to do is I want to move this turtle. Now I'm code reusing, but notice I'm not calling up the colon, just the move underscore turtle parentheses. So the first thing I want you to do is move the turtle. Then I want you to draw H, draw E. Haha, do it right. And see, typos are pretty common. That's why you gotta go slow. Draw underscore L. Another L. Make sure you do 2 L's. Draw underscore L parentheses. Draw underscore O parentheses. If I've done everything right, this puppy's gonna run. Here we go. Woohoo! We did it! And you can see it kind of ends in the middle here because of that space. If I didn't want that to happen, if I didn't want it to end in the middle because of the space, then what I would end up doing is on my O, I would have it go forward 50 and then do the space. Okay? So let's see what happens if after my left 90, I have it move forward 50. Because I kind of don't like where that stopped. Oh, I did 5 again. Okay. Let's try that again. And let's see where it stops this time. And you can see a lot of it's just a game. You just like choose. Yeah, now I've got a space after the O. I like that better. What I've done right now is I have drawn the word hello, but I've done it using functions. So what did I do? Defined the function for a space because I knew I was going to use space a lot. And defined what it means to move turtle. Every time you do this, you're going to have to define those 2 pieces. Then I defined what it means to draw an H. Define what it means to draw an E. Define what it means to draw an L. Now the beautiful thing right here is that I can actually pull out this second draw L. I didn't really need to do that. Define what it means to draw an O. And then I told it. Then I called up everything. And at the end, of course, I called up the space. Move the turtle. Draw these guys. So now the definition of drawing an O is do all this stuff and then draw space. So actually when we do this, look, we've got a function within a function. It's like Inception, right? Function within a function. It's codeception. So all of these pieces create this lovely little hello by functions. But you're not done yet. Because I told you at the beginning that this whole project is hello world. Go ahead and save. Close it out and you should have hello and hello by functions. In video number 3, and note this one was a good 15 minutes shorter. In part 3, we're going to add the word world again by functions. All right, see you soon.